Hey guys, I'm back. Tony King is back. Okay, so here is my second tutorial for beginners. And in this tutorial, and I might have to split this into two tutorials just to save you time and myself, but we will be creating this little it's really short but pretty neat and cool little animation. Can be used for logos and name reveals and things like that. So here it is again. Okay, there you go. I just wrote in test with some random font. Love you like a sister. That's like the most popular font in the world, actually. Just kidding. Okay, so to get started, let's go ahead and create a new composition, and we can call this logo reveal or something like that. Just name it whatever you want. And let's go ahead and make that black, 29.97 frame rates, 1920 by 1080, and 6 seconds. Okay, go ahead and do that. And you can pause this video whenever you want to do what you have to do. Okay, hit OK, and here we have our new composition. So what I want to go ahead and do is I want to set this up before I do anything. So let's go to Layer, New, Solid. So this is basically just two solids and a text. Now I want to call the lighter red solid. Actually, you can make this any colors you want. But I just made two reds. So I'll call the first one bar, and I'm going to tell you why. So let's go ahead and make this really thin. And then to make this quicker, we can hit S and go into this, and let's take off the constrained proportions, and I have it at about 1.2 width. I actually want to make it a little bit wider, say 1.5, and I want the height to go all the way down to say 56. Now I want to position this in a specific position for either side of the animation, like I did in my example. I want to go here to choose grid and guide options and hit title action safe. Then I want to go to hit P and position. So I want to bring it over all the way to this second line from the middle on the very right. Okay, so here we have our first bar. Now what I want to do now is I want to create a new solid. So I made a different red, which is it's a little darker, and I'm going to call this let's see, background text. Background for text. Okay, and it can be comp size. We're going to scale it anyways. So go ahead and bring this under the bar, and you can do this manually. Just scale it down right about there, so where you can fit your text in, but there's still a there's some space in between the bar and this background for text. And now in between the bar and the background for the text, we want to add our actual text. We go to Layer, New, Text, and I just wrote in test. You can write in whatever you want with whatever font you like. I just use this font because I have it and I don't really have another use for it, so might as well use it for this. Okay, so that's about the center of this solid, and it looks good to me. So now we can now we have it all set up. So now we want to start animating. So we can leave these this test and background for text alone for a few minutes. And on the bar, we want to scale it up so it goes from nothingness to opening up, sort of. So hit the stopwatch on scale, and let's go forwards just a few frames, maybe less than what I just did, and leave it, and then at the very edge of your screen, by scale, you should see add or remove keyframe at current time. So go ahead and add a keyframe there, go back to the beginning, and let's make the height to 0. And so now you will see that it opens up. Okay, that looks fine to me. And let's move over one frame, let's say. And now what we want to do is we want to animate the position. So hit the keyframe for P position, and actually I'm going to go ahead and hit U so I can see all of the effects I'm using. Let's move over, let's make this a little bit longer than our scale animation. Let's open up the title action safe again and move it all the way over to the other side. This might take a few clicks. We want it to be the second line on title action safe grid. So for me that goes from 1608 to all the way over to 313 in the X position. But now we don't really have a reveal right now, which is what we want. So let's go on to the background text, and I'm going to teach you something new now, which is very useful. So go up to this toolbar at the very top and find the pen tool, or just hit G. And what this will create when you click somewhere. So let's go to the right edge of our bar. Hit the top corner, the bottom corner in a fairly straight line. It doesn't have to be exactly perfect, but should be pretty good. And let's go ahead and close this out for box. And what you'll see is your background text box will disappear. Do not worry, that's what's supposed to happen. See, with masks, you basically create a space inside of a larger solid, and you decide what you will actually see. So, and then to see these masks, you can hit N and see we have mask 1 right here. And there's all these different effects for masks. And you have feather, which can decide the feathering for the edge. So you maybe if you're doing an effect on a video, you don't want it to have a sharp edge, so you'd feather it out so it sort of fades in and out of that effect. You can change the opacity as on any other solid, and the expansion. You can decide like if you want it to feather out but not inside the mask, you can expand it so then you're feathering out. But right now what I want to do is edit the mask path. This decides that you can edit the size of your path of your mask for different moments in the composition. So I'll go ahead and take off the title action safe and go ahead and bring just this one side over to the same edge of the bar that you just made. And what you should see is that you created this cool reveal for the background for text. And make sure you just move these 2 dots that are next to the bar so that you do actually reveal the entire background for text. Now we want to reveal the text basically in the same way. So let's go back up to our bar, and on position, let's go ahead and move it back to 1608 or whatever your initial position was. So now we'll see it opens up, it reveals the background and goes right over. Now I want to put in a little break between the 2 animations. So I'll go in and take off the keyframe we just created, go forwards a frame, add a new keyframe, go back to make 1608. This is just to add a little bit of break for the eyes that I think adds a little bit of pace, I guess you could say, to the different attributes that we're revealing. So let's go ahead on test, and now at the beginning of this, at our second keyframe for the position on the left side of the screen, we want to create a new mask for the text. Now we want it on the left side of the bar this time instead of the right, because we're going from the left to the right. So basically the same idea. Just create the line on there and add the other 4 points. Now we want to hit M, remember? And when you hit M, mask path immediately comes up. And to see the other effect, you'd have to close the mask and then reopen it. So let's go ahead and hit the keyframe stopwatch for mask path. Move over to the end of this animation, and with the selection tool, let's drag over this mask to be in line with the edge of our bar. So what we see now is goes over and reveals both of them. Now let's go ahead and close this bar. So 1 frame over from the end of our position. Let's go ahead and hit add or remove a keyframe for the scale and go forwards. This doesn't have to be exact, just eyeball it to be about the same as our initial entrance and hit 0. So now we have a bar opening, revealing the background for text and the text, and then closing at the very end. But this is kind of very standard, let's say, and I don't really want it to look so standard. So let's go ahead and select background for text and the text and hit U, so that we now see all of our keyframes. What I want to do is I want to make this look a little bit better. So let's go ahead on scale to begin with on the bar, just to see what we're doing. Let's go ahead and select these two by clicking on one, holding shift, and clicking the other. Now let's right click on one of those keyframes, and you get all this to edit values and select equal keyframes and yada yada yada. But let's go down to Keyframe Assistant, and a new page comes up, and with easy ease in, easy ease out, and different things like that. But what we want and what you'll normally want is easy ease. Let's go ahead and do easy ease, and you'll see the shape of this of the keyframe changes to sort of an hourglass looking like thing. And with this, first of all, it smooths it out. It can't really see it because it's so fast, but it actually does make a little bit of a difference. But if you select these two now, and you see this little graph editor. It's like a little graph at the top of the timeline. Go ahead and click that, and we get this really complex looking graph. And you see here are our keyframes actually, and this is the graph of our animation. Now you usually don't want to edit this because it looks pretty neat by itself, but I'm just gonna edit it to show you. So to edit the speed, see now it would go pretty slowly into the thing, and then for this it would come in really fast, maybe even go over the length and go back down. But I'm just gonna leave it how it is. I just did that to show you what you can do. So but now I want to do this for every single keyframe, and this is actually, since we're just doing the standard easy ease, let's go ahead and select everything just like this, so all of the keyframes are selected blue. And let's go ahead, on any one of them you can right click Keyframe Assistant and do easy ease. Now they will all turn into these little hourglasses, and this might take a second to render. Okay, there we go. There you have it. This is your animation. It looks a little bit smoother than it did before, I guess. And okay, so here is logo reveal. Now to export it, exporting is a iffy subject in After Effects sometimes. So let's go up to File, Export, and if you have Adobe Media Encoder Q, Media Encoder, excuse me, you may want to use that. But to export it directly from After Effects, you would just want to go to the Render Queue. That's what I normally use. And here you have Render Queue. It's a new tab next to the composition. So here you have your comp name, which will be the name of the file most of the time, and you can see all these settings. So render settings, usually you want to keep it at best settings. That is normal. For output module, this is what you'll usually want to change. So hit lossless, and now you can change the format. For my computer, I have a Windows computer, so it will usually do AVI instead of QuickTime. But if you have a MacBook, it will usually come out as QuickTime. So I'm gonna go ahead and do QuickTime because I do have QuickTime, and that will just change the format. And MOVs or MP4s or whatever you want to call them are smaller than AVIs, so they do take up less space on the computer. So on video output is what we want to look at now. When we see channels, we have RGB. RGB is usually what you want, but let's say what we just made. Okay, let me exit out of this real quick and show you. So what we just made, we have just the black background here, but it actually is not even there. So let's say you were putting this over something else. Now there's different ways you could do this to get rid of the black screen, but if you just didn't want to have to worry about getting rid of the black screen, what you can do is, because the black screen is the alpha channel, if you want to export it where there is no, well, it will show the black screen, but if you put it onto a video and you don't want it to show, go ahead and hit RGB plus alpha. That will get rid of the alpha, and which is the black part of the screen. But actually, if you do render it or just RGB and you're editing it in any advanced software, you can just select screen in the transfer mode, and that will get rid of the black screen. Let's go ahead and just make this RGB plus alpha, and then we don't want to resize it or crop it or anything like that. So this looks okay to me. And then you just click here to select your output name and hit render to export it. This won't take very long because it is a pretty short animation. And there you have it. This is a it actually just took one episode, gladly, and especially for you. And this is a pretty cool logo reveal. You can use it for anything. I know I use it quite often, and thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Comment any questions you have, or any other tutorials you'd like me to make, and anything really you don't understand. Just comment down below. I'll do my best to help you. Thank you very much.